Hey guys, so I just got off work today and I kind of rushed home to pop in my PS4, which I never play, to jump on and check out the Final Fantasy VII demo. So let's go ahead and go through some quick impressions. Yeah, so first thing I want to say is the demo is very, very short. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but just tempering your expectations if you haven't popped it in yet. My recorded gameplay, which is everything as far as like starting my PS4 all the way to when I finished the very end and it told me to buy the game, was 50 minutes of gameplay. So that probably puts the demo around 40 ish. And then if you cut out the cinematics, maybe 25 to 30 minutes, which isn't a bad thing. The demo itself, it takes you, if you've played Final Fantasy VII, I guess spoilers if you haven't, but if you play Final Fantasy VII, it takes you into the very first part of the game where you and Avalanche go in, set the bomb, fight the first boss, and then run out of the Mako reactor. I don't know. Do you guys call it Mako reactor? Because they call it Mako reactor in this. I've always called it the Mako reactor. I don't know. That's besides the point. Let's talk about the actual gameplay. It's gonna be divisive, I think. Some people are really gonna be hard stuck on the turn-based gameplay, while this is definitely more like a Kingdom Hearts or a Final Fantasy 15. I enjoyed it, but I will say it was very easy. There was not one point in this demo where I was challenged. Maybe when I was escaping at the very end, because there's these shock trooper soldiers that definitely did a little bit more damage, but I don't think I was really challenged at all in the whole demo. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. Maybe you were a little bit overpowered, so it's, you get a good time out of it. But that being said, the controls aren't very bad. The one thing that took some getting used to is the command bar at the bottom. Now, the command bar, you basically do hits or moves or actions to fill up that bar to use anything. So your special attacks, your magic, or your items. Now, basically, that means that mid-fight you can't just spam potions, which is probably a good thing because I think at one point in this demo I had like 28 potions or something like that. It's some absurd number of potions. Once again, I don't know if they just gave you all those to make it easier or what. But anyway, yeah, so let's get back to the gameplay though. You obliterate as Cloud. He's insanely strong. And so it also, basically you press square to attack, circle to roll and dodge, R1 to run, X for your commands, and then that frees up Y. Now each character has a different Y button feature, and it's a character-specific feature. Now for Cloud, it's switching from operator mode to Punisher mode. Now in Punisher mode, you have way less mobility, but all of your attacks do way more damage, and your combos are a lot more serious. Now when you're playing as Barret, you have a charge attack. When you press Y, you basically unleash a flurry of much more damaging bullets, kind of like a volley of big cannon shots. Other than that, it's pretty much, really easy to swap between characters on the fly. You press left and right on the D-pad to switch on the fly. You can, you need to manage everyone's actions by pressing X, like I said, to switch between their abilities. Cloud had a Braver and like a dashed focus slash kind of move that was pretty cool. Barret just had some big, heavier shots. Of course, early on, they make you switch to Barret to get used to ranged attacks when an enemy is out of reach, and then Cloud, of course, for the ground follow-up. And that brings us to the boss fight. Now, the boss fight is the culmination, of course, of all the stuff you've learned, and basically you're fighting the Scorpion robot, if you know. And the way they do this is, Cloud weakens the armor, and then Barret basically follows up with lightning, which is what it's weak against, or if it's on the wall out of reach, follows up with a volley of shots. Another big part of this game, which kind of makes big bosses trivial, at least it's what you're trying to get to, is you want to stagger them, and by staggering them, you basically just keep a huge amount of damage on them. And after doing that, it'll eventually stagger the enemy, and then you have a huge damage multiplier. So yeah, it's one of those, you know, beat them until there's stars around their heads and then smash the hell out of them. Uh, I really can't say enough. This was very easy. It felt much easier than I thought it was going to be. And another thing is the final boss felt really chaotic. Um, it was hard to see him sometimes, and it was hard to kind of switch back and forth between the characters and also avoid his attacks. Because you know you're trying to do something with Barrett, and then you notice the Cloud's getting jumped, so you try to switch to Cloud, and it got really hectic really quick. And one thing that did not help was the camera. I'm gonna say this right now. The camera felt wonky. Now, in its defense, there is a way where you can do all sorts of camera adjustments. I didn't really look much into that, so maybe those will help it out a little bit. But the camera seemed really kind of janky, especially when something was overhead and you're playing as Cloud, because Cloud's not meant to seek out looking at enemies away, and it just felt weird. And even with Barrett, I felt like I was blocking myself. It's very strange, but if you can get past that, it's pretty fun. Like I said, if you are the classic purist turn-based RPG person, you probably will be a little upset. It's more think Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts. That's kind of what you're getting here. Some other stuff that may or may not be a point of contention for you is the soundtrack. Now, the soundtrack is like fully orchestrated kind of a remake of the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, from what I could tell. And you either like that or you don't. It kind of basically take the Final Fantasy soundtrack and have it put through the lens of Final Fantasy 15, where everything's really orchestral, really kind of ornate. I thought it was okay. In fact, I actually rather enjoyed the soundtrack, save for the boss fight. I felt like the boss fight soundtrack should have been more, you know, heavy, like more of a heavier riff in there. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad, but I don't know. It felt like it could have had more impact. Especially when he goes haywire and kind of knocks down some stuff off the ceiling they have to use for like a defense. I think if the music ramped up there and kind of, you know, maybe like a second phase, I would have been much cooler than what it was. But like I said, it was pretty cool. It was pretty short. But the thing is wow, for it being so short, it was a large demo size-wise. I forgot how big it was, but I remember when I started downloading it, I was like, oh, it's pretty big. You're going to get a lot. And then when I played it, it wasn't a lot. I'm not saying that, you know, I think that just kind of goes to show how impressive the graphics are. Because that's where it's all being stored, is those graphics are sweet. And let's talk about the visuals. I mean, the visuals are beautiful. It's nothing different than you've already seen, though, in the trailers. So, I mean, if you've seen any trailer since this has come out, you're going to know exactly what you're getting. Other than that, it's pretty cool. If you have a PlayStation, I definitely recommend checking it out. We're going to be checking out the game when it comes out here on the channel, so stay tuned for that. And anyway, that's just my quick impressions. Thanks for coming by and checking it out. Hopefully, maybe I helped you out in a way that maybe you know, saw something you didn't see before, or a different point of view. But you know, if you like the video, please throw a like on it, subscribe if you haven't, because we're doing videos all the time, and as always, take it easy.